fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
On Silver! Let's go, big fella! I'll Silver! Away!
Lee Fawson, owner of the large Circle F Ranch, entered the ranch house one afternoon and spoke to his wife, Laura, and their 10-year-old daughter, Diane.
Well, I suppose both of you thought I forgot what day this is, didn't you?
Frankly, Lee, I did think you'd forgotten when you failed to mention it this morning.
You mean you remembered it's my birthday, Daddy?
Well, of course, honey. I wouldn't let your birthday go by without giving you a present.
A present? But where is it?
Well, you and your mother come to the front porch with me, and I'll show you.
Oh, come on, Mama. Hurry.
All right.
Now, look there, Diane. That's your present.
Ooh, a pony, a real-life pony.
Let's go down and get a close look,
Lee, he's beautiful. But do you think Diane is old enough to ride a pony?
Oh, of course, Laura. She'll take to riding like a duck takes to water, won't you, Diane?
May I ride him right now, Daddy?
Well, I'll lift you into the saddle. There you are.
Be careful, Diane.
Yes, Mama.
Don't go too far. There are outlaws in this vicinity, and it'd be dangerous for you to ride alone. Anyway, supper will soon be ready.
Now, remember what your mother said, Diane.
Yes, Daddy. Oh, golly, this is real fun. Thanks for giving him to me. Oh, get up there.
For a short time every day, Diane rode her pony and soon became a good rider. Either her father or the foreman Tex rode with her as a rule. But one day, Diane rode away from the ranch house alone.
Get up, Spotty.
For a time, the pony trotted along a trail through the hills with the little girl constantly urging him on.
Oh, get up, Spotty. Golly, this is fun. Get up.
Diane turned off the trail and headed up a slope toward a wooded grove. When the pony reached the edge of the grove, Diane pulled in to a stop.
Whoa, Spotty, whoa. Golly, an Indian and a masked man.
Hello. Don't be afraid. We'll not hurt you.
Oh, I'm not afraid.
That's a mighty fine pony you have there.
I got him for my birthday. His name is Spotty. I'm Diane Fawson.
You lucky to have fine pony.
Daddy gave him to me. Are you a mean Indian? Do you scalp people?
No, me not scalp people.
Tonto's a good Indian, Diane. He's my friend.
That's right.
Are you an outlaw?
No, I'm not an outlaw.
But you wear a mask. Why?
Someday I'll tell you, if you can keep a secret.
All right. I won't tell anybody when you tell me the secret.
I'm sure you can be trusted.
I trust you and Tonto, too.
Good. That means we're friends, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, Masked Man. And I'll come back to see you again.
Fine. We'll be glad to see you, Diane.
Well, I have to go home now. Goodbye.
Hey, goodbye.
Get up, Spotty. Get up.
A pretty little girl. Ride plenty good.
Her childlike friendliness and trust are heartwarming, Tonto. Grown people could take a lesson from children like that.
Kimosabe.
Yes?
We go now, try find hideout of outlaw gang?
Yes, Tonto. Kirk Deal and his men must be caught before they kill somebody else. They're wanted for 2 murders already. Now, let's go. Easy, steady, big
Easy, Scout, easy, fella.
Come on, fiddle there.
Up, Scout.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto searched for Kirk Deal's gang without success. During the following week, Diane Fawson visited the masked man and Indian every day, and they became good friends. One day when she was ready to leave, the Lone Ranger lifted her gently onto the pony.
There you are, Diane.
Thank you. Golly, what nice shiny bullets you have in your belt. I never saw any like that before.
I'll give you one to remember us by. Here. Now, this bullet is made of silver.
Ooh, thank you.
Now, be careful and go straight home, so you'll reach there before dark.
Uh-huh. Goodbye.
Hey, goodbye.
Adios.
Get up, Spotty.
The following morning, the ranch foreman, Tex, hurriedly entered the ranch house, where Diane was having breakfast with her parents.
Hey, boss.
Well, Tex seemed to be excited about something.
Hey, listen, boss. Rustlers ran off half a dozen of your prize horses from the South Range last night.
Doggone it. That's the second time in a month they've stolen my stock. Did the men trail them?
We tried to trail them, boss. But they turned down that valley where the herd of wild horses run most every night. We lost the trail.
Well, what about the whitey who was riding range out there last night? How come he didn't...
He's done for, boss.
What?
Come to the bunkhouse and see for yourself. He must have been shot from his saddle from ambush.
How awful.
Well, who was it?
The new fella, Delroy. Too bad.
Tex, send someone to town to notify the sheriff.
Yeah.
By thunder, this time we'll keep hunting till we round up those sneaking killers.
In a small box canyon in the foothills, the outlaw leader, Kirk Deal, and 2 of his 3 tough followers sat playing cards in a deserted prospector's cabin.
Yeah. Hell, Buck, it's about time for you to relieve Bill at the pass.
Sure, Kirk. I'll go there right now.
Later, when Red relieves you, we'll use a running iron on those Circle F horses behind the cabin. It'll be simple to change the F into an E.
Those horses will bring a good price. When do we take them across the border, Kirk?
A couple of nights from now, after the brand sets. All right, get going, Buck.
Yeah, sure.
This place is a perfect hideout, Kirk.
Yeah. Most folks think that pass is the only way in or out of here. Lucky I stumbled onto the low, narrow tunnel at the back of the canyon. The tall brush covers it well, yet it's just wide and high enough to lead horses through single file if necessary. Yeah, we're plenty safe here, Red. And our operations are driving the ranchers and the sheriff loco.
That morning at the ranch house, Diane Fawson sat on the front porch playing with her dolls. But her eyes wandered fretfully to the pony over in the corral.
Oh, I just don't want to play with dolls today.
She walked slowly to the corral and reached through the split-rail fence to pet Spotty. The child's faith in the Lone Ranger and Tonto had instinctively kept her from telling about them. She realized questions might be asked and felt the matter was her secret. As she stood rubbing the pony's sleek coat, a ranch hand rode hurriedly to the ranch house and dismounted.
Ho there, boy. Ho! Steady there.
I saw you riding in. What's wrong now?
Where's the boss, Mrs. Fawson?
He and the men left to search for the rustlers. Didn't you ride with them?
No, ma'am. I went to town to notify the sheriff.
Oh.
I saw a couple of hombres. One an Indian, the other wearing a black mask. I figured they're a couple of the rustlers. They didn't see me, and they didn't seem to be covering the trail. So I decided to come and get the boss and the men to trail.
Lee and the others took the west trail. You'd better go find them as quickly as possible and tell them.
Yes, ma'am. Steady there. Get up there. Come on, get up there.
Golly, Spotty, He was talking about our friends in the grove. If Daddy and the men find them, they'll be killed.
Diane stood a moment thinking of what might happen to her two kind friends.
I have to tell them. I have to.
Diane was an obedient child. She had no thought now of disobeying her parents. The one thought that put everything else from her mind was to warn her friends. Quickly, she saddled the pony, then mounted.
Get up, Spotty. Get up. Hurry, Spotty.
Meanwhile, the cowpoke who had caught a glimpse of the Lone Ranger and Tonto rode at top speed after Lee Fawson and his men. Finally, he sighted them.
Hey, Mr. Fawson! Hey!
The horseman saw the galloping horse coming behind them and pulled to a stop.
Ho there! Ho! Stop, Jake.
Quickly, the cowpoke repeated what he had told Mrs. Fawson. When he finished, Lee exclaimed,
By thunder, this time we'll get him. That masked man Indian must be in with the gang.
That's right.
We'd better get back to where Jake saw them and pick up the trail, huh?
That's what we'll do right now. And when we find them, if they go for their guns, we'll fill them with lead. Come on, let's get that Indian and masked man. Get up there! Get up there!
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger adventure. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments.
Now, to continue. Lee Fawson and his ranch hands found and followed the tracks left by Tonto and the Lone Ranger. Later, they approached the place where the two men had turned up toward the wooded grove on the slope. At their camp in the grove, the Lone Ranger and Tonto had prepared a midday meal and were seated on a log enjoying it when...
Wasabi.
Yes?
Silver give one.
Yes, we'll see.
Reach and freeze, both of you. There are men with guns on each side of your camp.
Better do as he says, Tonto.
Ah.
We're reaching. What now?
Close in on the men and watch their hands. If they move them, shoot to kill.
Him right. Him have plenty men with him.
Right now, we're in a tight spot. These men mean business. May I ask what this is all about?
Sure. You two are part of the gang that killed one of my line riders and stole my horses last night.
Let's string them up right here.
Yeah, I say finish them off.
I have 12 men with me, mister. All holding guns and all aching to use them.
You're mistaken about us. We're not outlaws. We didn't know about what happened last night.
He's going to try to lie out of it.
Yeah.
Him not lie.
Shut up, Indian.
Take their guns and string them
Yeah,
up.
come on, boy.
Hold on, men, hold on. No use losing our heads. We'll disarm them, hog time, and take them to jail. And then we'll find out who that stranger is behind the mask, too. Now, Tex, you and Jake get there. Hey, what's that? That's my little girl. Diane, stay back!
Hey, he's heading in between us and the masked man.
Diane, do you hear me? Stay away! Turn around! These men are dangerous!
Whoa, Spotty. Whoa,
No.
whoa. Oh, Daddy, don't hurt them. Don't.
Keep your eyes on those two. Watch out, boss. You could use the girl as a shield.
Don't worry about that. Diane, you shouldn't have come here.
When the Lone Ranger spoke, Diane looked at her father, who started toward her. Then she quickly dismounted and ran to the masked man standing in front of him.
You can't shoot them. I won't let you. I won't.
Diane, come away quick! Men, be careful if you happen to fire.
We'll not let Diane get hurt, Mr. Fawson.
Wait. How do you know my name?
I told them my name. They're my friends. They're good and kind to me.
Oh, I don't savvy this. Stand away, child.
Yes, Diane. Take Spotty off to one side.
No, they'll hurt you and Tonto.
Eyeing the masked man and Indian carefully, Lee Fawson slowly walked toward them. He knew the masked man had only to grasp Diane and use her as a shield for them to escape. Fear for the child's safety showed on the father's face a moment. The Lone Ranger spoke quietly.
Don't worry. Diane is in no danger from us. Diane, take my guns from their holsters and hand them to your father.
Should I?
Yes, Diane. They outnumber us greatly. We can't escape. But we'll clear this matter up soon. Go ahead, take them.
Hesitantly, the little girl lifted the heavy, beautiful guns from the Lone Ranger's holsters and handed them to Lee Fawson. Then she took Tonto's and gave them to him. The men waited, tense, but puzzled and curious.
Now, Daddy, you have their guns. Don't hurt my friend.
Doggone it, I don't figure this at all.
I met the masked man and Tonto several days ago. I saw them again, and the masked man gave me this.
What? A bullet? Now, why should he give you silver? A silver bullet?
Uh-huh. Look, in his gun belt. Lots of them.
Now, hold on. Mister, where are your horses?
Over to the left. Come, Silver, Scout.
Silver. And Scout, eh? Jumping grasshoppers, now I get it.
What do you mean you get it, boy?
I remember when we drove a herd to San Antonio. Folks told us about a masked man who rides a white stallion called Silver and an Indian who rides a paint called Scout. Well, they help the law. And the masked man always has silver bullets.
That's right, Mr. Fawson.
Men, these two aren't outlaws like we thought. I'll vouch for that. Mister, why in tarnation didn't you up and say who you were?
You gave us little chance for explanation, Mr. Fawson. In fact, Diane's faith in us saved the day.
Well, here are your guns. And the Indians.
Thanks. I suggest you send one of the men to ride back with Diane.
Sure thing. Jake, take Diane home.
Do I have to go home?
Yep.
All right. Goodbye, masked man and Tonto.
Goodbye, and we'll see you again, Diane.
I hope so. Get up, Spotty.
I'll go get my horse.
Mr. Fawson, give me the detail of last night's robbery. Perhaps Tonto and I can help.
Briefly, Lee Fawson told about the stolen horses and how the ranch hands lost the trail in the nearby valley.
Well, I suggest we go to that valley and search again.
Oh, but the place is covered with the tracks of wild horses now.
Wild horses are unshod, Mr. Fawson. We should be able to pick up the trail where the rustlers turned out of the valley with the shod horses.
Say, that's right. We'll be mighty glad to have your help, you and the Indian. Our horses are down there among the trees. We'll join you in a few minutes.
After considerable searching along the sides of the valley, the tracks of the stolen horses were found. The Lone Ranger and Tonto rode with the Circle F men toward the hideout in the canyon.
Mr. Fawson, that pass ahead seems to lead into a canyon. It's my idea we should divide our forces. Silver. Have a few of the men go with Tonto and me. We'll ride along that ridge at the top of the canyon and see if there's another way out. If there is, we'll move in and help you.
Well, that makes good sense. We'll give it time to reach there, and then we'll go through the pass.
Later, on a low bluff near the pass into the Box Canyon where the outlaws were hiding, Buck, who was standing guard, saw a group of horsemen approaching.
Easy. Get up. Come on, boy.
He hurriedly ran to his horse and rode to warn the others. Kirk Deal, Red, and Bill were waiting at the open door when he stopped at the cabin.
Ho! Kirk, I saw what looks like a posse approaching the pass. We better get the horses and clear out through the back opening before they get here.
Right, and there's no time to lose. Let's go.
All right.
Within a short time, the crooks were mounted.
Get up, come on, get up.
The stolen prize horses, tied one behind the other, were led toward the narrow opening behind the tall brush at the back of the canyon.
Here, we'll just make it. That posse hasn't come through the pass yet.
Hey, I better ride through first, just in case. Won't take but a couple of minutes. You men follow with the string of horses. Get up, come on, up. Yep.
A few minutes later, the others were about to follow when Buck was seen backing his horse from the tunnel, where it was too narrow to turn around.
Back, boy, back. Ho there, ho. Kirk, I got sight of someone out there. In fact, there's several horsemen snooping around beyond that tunnel.
There they are! Holy smoke, the posse's coming through the pass.
What'll we do? We can't go through the tunnel. We'd be picked off one by one. Take the cover behind the boulders and we'll make a stand.
All right, steady, boys.
All right, let them have it.
gun battle raged for a short time. One or two men on each side were wounded. Near the outer opening of the tunnel, the Lone Ranger and Tonto heard the shooting in the canyon.
Man, that shooting seems to be beyond that tunnel. That must lead into the canyon. We'll dismount and go through it. Hurry, easy.
The Lone Ranger led the others through the low, narrow tunnel. When he stepped out into the canyon, he saw the crooks with their backs to him and the men fighting the ranchmen.
Drop your guns and reach. We're behind you.
Some men came through the opening.
All right, got him. Hold it.
Kirk fell wounded. Buck had already taken a bullet in his gun arm. The remaining two, Red and Bill, saw that they had no chance. The ranch hands were in front of them, the Lone Ranger with his group behind them. They hastily dropped their guns and raised their hands.
No, we give up. Don't shoot.
Take their guns, Tonto.
Me get him.
By thunder, mister, we caught them all. What's more, I see my prize horses over there. Oh, if it hadn't have been for you and Tonto, though, we'd have never picked up their trail from the valley.
And if it hadn't been for your little girl, Diane, Tonto and I might not have been here to help you.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sure sorry we were so hasty at your camp.
Diane believed in us, had faith in us. I value the simple faith of a child very highly.
Yes, that's right. If a man can get a child's faith and trust, well, I figure he's a darn good hombre.
You have enough men to handle these crooks, Mr. Fawson. Tonto and I'll head south directly from here. Please tell Diane we'll see her again sometime.
I'll tell her, mister. Men, bandage up those crooks and tie 'em so as we can take 'em to town.
All right, let's go, Tonto. Our horses are beyond the narrow opening. Adios, everyone.
Bye.
Boss, that sure beats all. How in blazes did Diane get to know that masked man and Indian?
Well, I reckon she just met him and liked him. And thank heaven she did. Or we might have done something we'd always regret.
I sure admired the way she stuck up for those two at their camp.
Yep, so did I. I was mighty proud of my little daughter when I realized what it was all about. And she's going to be mighty proud, too, when I tell her the hombre who gave her that silver bullet is none other than the Lone Ranger.
This is a feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Muir Incorporated, directed by Charles D. Livingston, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer.